We are so excited to welcome to the stage our Girly Swirlies panel.
Hi, dear media Earl.
Girly Swirlies?
Early Swirly.
It's the Early Swirly Dear Media Fair.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm Taylor Strecker. I will be moderating. Thank you. Thank you. Not that these two bitches need anybody to keep them talking, but I will do the task. I have a feeling we have a lot of toasters in the audience. That was the vibe I got. Exactly. Yeah, amazing. So officially, welcome to the Girly Swirly panel. And a big thank you to GNC, our sponsor. Yeah, okay. So we've got a lot to talk about. First off, hello, Claudia. Hello, Jackie.
Hello,
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, guys. Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me moderate. It's truly an honor and a privilege. It really is.
It was either you or Ben Soffer, to be
Honestly, I was a little bit nervous that Ben was gonna beat me out.
Well, Taylor was being dramatic this week. She's like, I might have an ulcer.
I really still might, so that's very insensitive.
So I said, okay, if you can't come, it's totally fine. BSC will fill in for you. And she was like, oh, no, I don't have an ulcer, I'm fine.
Literally okay.
And then it wouldn't be the Girly Swirly panel.
Yeah, but doesn't he count as a girly swirly?
Honestly, it depends on the day.
True, fair.
And his energy. Sometimes he can
Today?
be toxic. Oh my God.
Not today. Has he been toxic?
Well, no, he's been fabulous. Hello to Ben Soffer, celebrity.
We love Ben Soffer. He's not even listening.
Okay, so when they asked me to do this, they were like, what do you want to call it? And it just immediately came to me. I was like, Girly Swirly. And then I realized I don't technically know what Girly Swirly means.
Okay, well, neither do a lot of people here because Jackie and I have vowed, we have literally, like to the grave, to not share the original, like why we say the word swirly in our family is like a story in family history that seriously will...
It's
we'll
under
take it to
lock
the
and
grave.
key. We're gonna gatekeep it.
Forever.
Yeah, that's why we just love the word swirly. It hits different for us. But now as Girly Swirlies, it's taken on new meaning.
As words often do at the Toast HQ.
So it's okay that I don't know what it means.
Yes.
Like I'm actually like, that's me being a toaster is not knowing.
Yes. I hate to keep harping on the thing that I'm not gonna share, but the story, if you guys knew, and it would destroy us if we, like,
No.
we can't.
We won't.
And don't even try.
You're making me want to try so badly.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Just a little bit.
No.
Okay, fine. I'll stop pushing. But okay, so speaking of being a toaster, so my wife is actually a huge toaster and a relatively new one. Like the way that I'm like is 50 is the way that she's a toaster. And I feel like through osmosis, I'm a toaster, but I actually don't listen to you guys every single day. Please still love me. That's okay, right?
Yeah. It is, but the thing I love most about you is Taylor will be like, oh my God, so funny what you did on the toast. And she'll reference a few moments that all were clipped on social media. And I'm like, did you listen or did you follow us on Instagram?
I follow you on Instagram.
I feel like a lot of people consume that way too.
Yes.
And they can become toasters, but then it's a slippery slope and soon you'll be listening to the whole episode. That's how we're gonna get you.
I mean, your community is very incredible, I have to say. I mean, the way I love a toaster. Like seriously, you guys make me feel so loved. I will say, I mean, I've been in this business now for, I'm gonna age myself, almost 20 years. And my whole moniker was like, hey girl, hey. But as of lately, I've gone from getting like, hey girl, heys. It's just like nonstop, like, oh my God, I love you from the toast. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. But
Yeah,
sometimes I feel like toasters are like toasters for tay, no? A little bit?
For sure.
Thank you.
Juice for Jesus.
Yes.
Toasters for Tay.
It's giving, right?
Yeah.
But I will say that you guys have this insane community. It's kind of a la Taylor Swift. Was that an intentional thing or did it just happen to be?
Not intentional. I feel like that's the first time we've gotten that comparison. I feel like the way that we used to think about our community, it feels like a sorority.
Yes.
Like a real sisterhood, you know, your chosen sisters. And I think it starts at the top with us being sisters. And now this feels like a sisterhood.
Yeah. It's like a sorority that I'm desperately trying to pledge every second of every day.
We're so inclusive, like everyone's welcome.
Well, that's the thing too, is I feel like there's like a spectrum. You never like, even if I don't quite know what something means, I don't feel left out, but I still want to figure out what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Yes.
100%.
So speaking to that, we're gonna do like a little like toaster thesaurus, if you will, toaster-isms later in the show for sure.
Steeny lexicon.
Exactly. But first things first, let's start at the very beginning. So you're obviously related, your sisters.
It's true.
So that's how you met. But when did this dream?
Actually, the story of how we met is really
It's really crazy.
It's a really cute story.
Stop.
Apparently, I was not even 2 when you were born. Apparently, when Claudia came home from the hospital, I was bouncing off the walls, so excited to meet her.
And that energy.
Yeah, has translated.
You have radiated that sort of energy to me, like, since that very day. And I can't thank you enough for that, seriously.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming home.
It's been a pleasure.
I really did not like my sister when she came home. But I was older. I was like 7, so that's to account for that, no? No?
I think being older makes it worse.
Yeah, like you're aware and you're being mean.
You're a grown-ass woman yelling at a baby.
I asked for her, and then she came and I was like, put her back now. No? You didn't have an experience ever with Claudia?
Not that we heard of.
No.
That's so nice. That's why you guys are where you are, and my sister and I are where we are. Not having a thriving podcast together, I'm so jealous. Speaking of the family component, do you guys think that gives you a serious competitive edge in the podcasting sphere? Because there's like a lot of dynamic duos, but you guys are like the dynamic duo.
Well, thank you. I think yes, on a technical level, because there's not really the fear from the audience of like, are they ever gonna split up, go solo, you know? So they can trust that we're gonna be together for them for the long haul.
Yes, absolutely.
But then I think we definitely have a leg up also creatively. You know, you can work with someone for X amount of time. You're never going to know them as well as you know your own blood. Like, I know, and it's like a running joke that I finish Jackie's sentences for her because I'm like, shut up, bitch, let me talk. But it's literally this like instinctual reaction. I know exactly what she's going to say. We have this really perfect rhythm that I think we've perfected because we're related to one another, like dead ass.
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of good, but is there anything like negative, any cons to working with family?
Well, it depends who your family is. Like,
absolutely.
Mine's top tier. We get asked this a lot. Like, no, I guess, and we haven't had this, and it could be in our future, like, you know, a big fight or big disagreement. We usually can work through things pretty amicably, and Jackie trusts my gut on certain things, and I definitely defer to Jackie on a lot of things. But let's say, like, one of us acted out. Like, we did something bad. I don't know. I can't think of an example, but we just did something bad. Like, then... like everybody in the family knows it's like high school. It's like so embarrassing and like everyone's gonna take sides. I can imagine if that were to happen, that would be a downside, but it hasn't happened.
That would be weird, yeah. And if we're like fighting, but like what if we have to do a show? That hasn't happened. Fingers crossed.
It won't. I know, I feel like you guys in the beginning, I used to like relate you to the Kardashians, but you're better than the Kardashians. Just saying. They're not nice to each other. You guys are such like the aspirational epitome of like what sisterhood should be. Seriously. Like it really is amazing.
I think it's really important to us. Like family is just like such a huge thing for us. It's how we were raised. Like family means everything. Mm-hmm. And I think there's definitely like a lack of that in popular culture and just in like, you know, the zeitgeist. So it's really important. Like it's all natural. This is how we feel. This is how we interact. But I think we feel like a little bit more motivated to share it because it's just like a value that's really important to us. And we want to share because it doesn't really get highlighted a lot. Even when you think of the Kardashians, yeah, they're like the most famous family.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're like saying shit to each other. I'm like, oh my God, that's like the meanest thing I've ever heard anyone say. It came from your fucking sister.
Literally.
And maybe if you had a business that you were passionate about, you would know what it's like. But you don't.
So you've never like smushed each other's faces in bronzer, got all over the walls. It's never happened?
Well, no,
we used to do that, but we didn't wear bronzer.
No, and like if we did get into a fight now, which as stated we haven't, but if we did get into a personal serious fight, like I don't even think we would share that publicly because we're very protective of our sisterhood.
1000%. Like, and I can only think of one instance in recent memory where we we're fighting on the podcast. Like we were talking about a story. It was so dumb. Yeah. What was it about? Whisper in my ear. Yeah.
We'll text it to each other.
And it was so spiraled into the dumbest fucking fight.
Yeah.
About literally nothing. And we like cut it out because we're like, we're not putting, it's literally embarrassing. Like what, we didn't even know what we were talking about. And we actually ended up continuing to podcast. Like we recorded the whole thing. And by the end of the episode, we couldn't even remember what the fight was about. It actually, like, we healed ourselves in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's what the show does, for real. Like, if one of us shows up to recording in like a foul fucking mood, which happens, like when you record every day, you're a mom, you're busy. And sometimes you just show up and like you want to kill someone. By the end of the show, it's really healing. And I think that's how people feel seriously when they tune in. Like you're having a shit day.
Well,
are we allowed to curse?
Yeah, I'm the moderator, abso-fucking-lutely. Yes. They wouldn't have let me be here otherwise.
I think recording, but also listening to the show definitely has restorative properties. But I'm not into like wellness, so I'm not 100% sure.
It is interesting. I feel like the same with me when I do my show. Even if I'm in the worst mood, if I feel sick, I always feel better afterwards. But that is how the audience feels as well. It's really, really amazing. Okay, so go back. Where was this idea birthed from that the two of you would do a daily show? And before you answer, I have a theory in my head that I think is a bold-faced lie, by the way.
Can you share your theory?
Shockingly to nobody, it involves me, so not me making your story about me.
Okay, go ahead.
Claudia came into Sirius. That's how I met you.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously I met you through Claudia.
Yeah.
So Claudia came into Sirius, and you were like blowing up as Girl with No Job. And you said in studio, like, oh my God, I want to do this and I can't do this. And like, obviously Claudia can do fucking anything that she wants to do. So in my mind, I was like, oh my God, they started their show because of me.
Oh my God, she thinks we copied her.
All this time, she was waiting. She got close to you so she could moderate the panel, so she could expose you.
Me when I'm lying. No, I mean...
No, it's like, no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Answer that.
No, okay, sure. No, honestly, I don't remember like the
meeting me. Thank you so much for saying that.
No, it's actually entirely possible that like I saw you because I remember the first time we met. Like we weren't supposed to become friends. I was just coming on your show like for work, and you were working, and we had a mutual friend who coordinated me coming on your show. He shall not be named, and we just really hit it off, and then we ended up having lunch. And I definitely probably looked at you, and I was like, wow, this is so awesome. Like when I used to come into the Sirius building, it was so major. She had her own show. She's this woman, and Olivia, my sister, who knew you, she was like, and you have to hear her backstory. She used to be married to a man. Like.
You met me, current Leslie. Oh, amazing. You met the good Taylor. That other Taylor,
like,
bad.
You had this fabulous history, and Olivia was like, she's so interesting, you're gonna love her, and she was totally right. So it's actually entirely possible that I saw you, and yeah, sure.
The truth.
Okay, tell me the true story now.
Well, our biggest source of inspiration for starting a show was the movie Morning Glory. And real toasters know it's a movie about a morning show, and we just fell in love with the idea of morning shows. And
Harrison Ford.
Rachel McAdams. That other guy. Who's that guy?
Patrick Wilson, my boyfriend.
So that made us want to do a morning show. We actually started doing the podcast just as a natural extension. We were using audio anyway, and people asked us to start the podcast. So I thought it was the People's Podcast, not the Taylor Strecker ripoff podcast.
You know, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I tend to do this. I make everything. That's not about me.
No, that was
I apologize.
That was really crazy.
I know.
But you know, when we started the show, we had a couple of names we were floating, and the Thaler Frecker foe was definitely one. And we thought it was a little too long.
Faye, Furl, Faye.
Faye, Furl, Faye. I'm dead.
I just got it.
Okay. So you see, I know the story about the morning show, and that was the inspiration.
That really was, at least from my POV.
1000%.
Yes.
You know when you just become hyper fixated on a movie? Like this movie changed the chemical makeup of our brains. We were like obsessed. It's so good. And then the movie ends with our favorite Natasha Bedingfield song, right? She's running from the Today Show. You told you, girl, to get your way, you gotta be a bitch.
Nah.
Oh, when we were like, oh, this movie is class.
It's classic stuff.
Okay, so that's conception, but then how did you get to square one?
Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Shout out to Facebook Live. Like that's what's so great about the internet is you can do start things by yourself, give something a shot. It's free to do.
Yes.
And so we used every platform available to us to hone our skills and build our show. And now the podcast and YouTube are the last two standing, but we've been on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live. SoundCloud is where it all started.
So what's your advice to somebody who's maybe trying to get into the industry? Because I feel like sometimes you think you have to be like so perfect and it's such a high level to even begin. And do you feel like you guys put that pressure on yourself, or did you just say go and figure it out?
I think being perfect at the start is impossible, and it will hold you back from starting because you think things aren't ready yet. Whereas your first episode shouldn't be the best episode. The next one should be better, and the next one should be better. And you can't learn and grow unless you just start. I think people who take so much time to like learn, and you have to learn on the job, and you can't really learn lessons that the hard way that you need to learn until you just put yourself out there and start.
Right.
We just celebrated our 6 years of Toast, and I watched the first episode we ever did, and like never in my life have I wanted to be dead more. Like it was horrible. It was a piece of shit. Like I can't believe people. And that's how you should feel, because that's exactly what Jackie's saying. Like you're never going to learn how to podcast, you know, in your basement talking to nobody. Like you have to really experience it. And that's like an unfortunate part, I think, of learning and growing up sort of on the internet is like you say things that you don't like years later love. Right. But at the end of the day, that's really how you hone your skills. And Jackie and I always say podcasting is a skill. And people always think like, oh, me and my friends, like we could talk for an hour a week. Do it. Do it. You know how many failed podcasts there are weekly?
Yes.
So it takes time, but Jackie loves to like point out people who like spend so long talking about something, like throwing a launch party before it even drops. Like, just fucking do it.
Do it.
Just do it. And the thing I love most about podcasting, and I think this surprises people a lot, is because I come at it like, I'm definitely the IT department of our show. I'm like very into that stuff. And I'm always trying to make it like crisper video, crisper, like everything. I'm like, when it's bad, I'm like, get so mad at myself. But so many of our greatest episodes, and in terms of audio quality, we've done while on the road, and we record on our voice memos on our phone.
Wow.
And it really, like, it's such a accessible medium. You don't need to be assigned to a network. You can literally just record something on your phone, and that's what we used to do on SoundCloud. It's free to upload, and you can get it on every platform. Like, it's super accessible. And even if you're not the most tech-friendly, we now know what microphones are great, what works, but literally your phone.
And so many of our best episodes are just recorded on voice note, as long as the phone is equidistant from the two of us, and no complaints.
Extremely hasty flush. Recorded on a voice memo.
Yeah.
I feel like two people's biggest fear to actually do the thing is they're just scared of like that failing moment, right?
Of course.
But don't you think that there's like, even like going back and watching your first episode, like you want to die. And there's even moments that I've done episodes where I'm like, I want to die after this episode. Like I'm so embarrassed by it, but you just keep going. So what would you say to people who are scared of like that failure? What did you experience where you were like, I want to go into a hole and die, but I'm going to come back tomorrow and do the show?
Well, I feel like if you love what you're doing, like even those early episodes for us, we look back on them now and they're not as great or as polished as we are now. But then like we loved what we were doing and we were proud of what we were doing and we grew from there. So I feel like if you're so scared to fail, like what about just the love of doing it? And that's going to stop you from doing it.
It's true. Yeah.
That's so Jackie O. She's so right. Me here being negative. It was bad. I wanted to die.
I know. I'm so negative too. I'm going to be positive for the rest of the panel, I swear.
The first episode, that wasn't like our finest moment. But you even look back on episodes from like a month in, you just don't like that.
Well, also like being a girl in this industry, like seeing what you used to look like kill me. It's a lot of it is physical. I'm sorry. Like, and a lot of it's, I wish I was better, but I'm not. Right. And I see where, like, before a couple of procedures or before the Ozempic, like, I'm not happy.
Right. I get it.
So,
Been there.
Sue me. Human.
So sue me. Okay, so you start the show, and again, congratulations on 6 years. Mm-hmm. But, like, when were you guys like, we're in a groove? Like, this is the thing? Because you guys are, like, the most popular podcast. I mean, the Toaster Nation is crazy. It really is. And I always say this, and I'm older than you guys, but like, I genuinely look up to you. I want to be you guys when I grow up. And I think I might grow up when I'm like 83 years old. But like, you really, like, you've just built something so incredible. So like, when was that moment when you were like, oh my God, we did it? Or was there not?
There's never this like top of the mountain moment. It's just constantly a climb. And there have been so many major milestones along the way that not feeling like, oh, we've made it and this is where we're going to be, but like just like change the way we thought about what we were doing. I think we always talk about when we started our Patreon, and that was the first time our show was able to make money, and we were like, oh, okay, we can make a living from this. That's a major first step, to not have to go and get a job and concede that this didn't work out. Like, okay, so that was huge, and that gave us the momentum to keep going. And then we got signed to a network, and that was so exciting. And even with that, like our ads built up slowly over time. It wasn't like one day we were doing all these ads per week. It's just been a slow build, but I also think that's what makes it more sustainable, because it wasn't like one day we woke up and we had ads through the roof and viral success and a network and all of these people. Like, it was just very slow and steady, but there have been moments where we stop and reflect and we're like, wow, that's pretty major.
Yeah, and I think just, a part of this business is highs and lows. Like, some people are into you one week, they hate you the next week, and rebuilding is a really unfortunate part. And I feel like we've rebuilt like majorly, maybe once or twice. And it's the hardest thing, because you feel like everything you've worked for is gone. And then you look back years later and be like, thank God that happened, because I'm here now at Dear Media IRL. And if I didn't have to rebuild, X amount of years ago, I wouldn't be here. So there really isn't like that one pinnacle moment. And I think Jackie is right when it comes to like sustainability, because there are podcasts, don't you feel like everyone's talking about one podcast, and then you're like, what happened to that podcast? It's hard to have long-term like longevity and success. So not always being like the number one, that's good. We're happy just being like
Number
girls.
2.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what losers say.
Spoken like a true loser.
So when you've had those downturns, like, what's the thing that though like really keeps you going? Can I answer it for you? Because I think I know the answer. Yeah, Jackie.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a good question. So do you think that your partnership is like at the forefront of you guys just like pushing through all adversity?
I'm getting better, but like, and maybe it's because I'm younger, I don't know. Jackie's just very, very sure of herself. I think also as a mom, you became even more sure of yourself. And I'm just like still over here crying about what people are saying about me on the internet. So I think that anytime things have been difficult or challenging, or we've experienced a dip or a low, or there's like a controversy, we don't know how to handle it, I'm like, it's over. Burn it to the ground. We're moving off the grid. And Jackie's so tempered, and she's Kim Kardashian says it, but then like Jackie took it as her thing, and it's so true. Like, calmness is her superpower. Yeah. I'm always panic, burn it down, shred the documents. And Jackie has this really uncanny ability to like, it's almost like a clairvoyance to like know when it's time to panic, and it's usually not. And we're gonna get through this, and just keep your head down, and it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It's just like a big deal in your head. And having that sort of energy is beyond helpful, like truly. So that, to answer your question,
it's you.
I guess so. But for me, the way that I feel is I always just think like, this too shall pass. Like, I kind of just zoom out on every situation, and you need perspective. And I also see the way other people handle things. Yeah. And you can learn a lot from other people. You can even just learn from being a bystander, how quickly people forget about stuff, how things that felt like the biggest deal when they happened, I barely remember them. And I just constantly like place myself, and I'm like, one day that will be this, whatever this is. So it's like how you handle yourself in this moment. Like, you want to be proud of yourself, and you don't want to be someone that you're not.
Right. And also, while we're on the topic of Jackie, like, I think I can say this, but like, low-key Jackie is like the business brains behind everything, correct?
I'm just the more loud and annoying one, so I feel like people are like, yeah, Claudia. When people, and I think you've experienced this firsthand, because we talk so much like offline about, the future, and we strategize together about your show and our show. Yes. And I'm like, let me just add Jackie to the call. I feel like she's such an underrated strategist, and it comes from that sense of calm and really being able to see everything and not wanting to be like, I'm always like, we have to be bigger. She's like, actually, we don't. We're doing really good. And I think our growth has been so steady because, like what she said, we've never had like a viral overnight moment. We're the biggest podcast in the world. And I think that speaks to the longevity, and it's so Jackie's way of doing things is like, it's okay, slow. And we want to be doing this forever. And I think if you have like an overnight viral moment, you're not going to have a successful podcast for like 15, 20 years. That's just not how the internet works. So I think staying at the level we're at and slowly has been the biggest thing for us.
Yes. And Turdy is very generous. Thank you for that. But it's also Turdy who's pushing us forward, who's keeping us relevant. It's, you know, it's a yin and yang because she'll suggest something and my inclination is I feel like I operate more from a place of no than you do, but it's not 100% no. And I feel like even a good example of this is like the clips on TikTok and Reels, which has really transformed
1,000%
our podcast. And I think for podcasts everywhere, I can't, you know, scroll 2 posts without watching someone's podcast inadvertently. And it's been great for the business. And Claudia completely pioneered that for us.
I mean, I'm very Gen Z. I'm extremely young.
She stays young. She stays
and beautiful.
Hip. But I think that is like the perfect balance of the two of us, like where she's out there and she's so young and she's 18 years old and she's got like... And
I didn't want to share,
like being a little bit of the grandma, it's a balance because we never go too far in one direction.
Yes. So true. And I think a lot of times you can tell, especially in this age, I think everyone's like Gen Z, we got to talk to Gen Z, who wants Gen Z? And we are, unfortunately, we are not.
Oh.
I know. It's a
breaking news.
But we're not. And I think you can tell when any sort of media, whether it's like a movie, a podcast, when they're trying to talk to Gen Z and they're not Gen Z and it sounds patronizing. And when Gen Z, we have Gen Z listeners and they listen to us, I'm like, that's so fabulous. I actually think we could be a great influence on you. But we're not actively searching for them because I feel like it's so inauthentic. And I think you can read that in media. Like I think we all watch movies when we're like, what are you talking about? That's not how kids talk. And I love that we have it in our, you know, our intro to our show is Good Morning Millennials, which started out as a joke. And we actually talked a little while ago about maybe getting rid of it. Is it too limiting? And actually, no. I like that we talk to our people who are in similar phases of life. But if you're not and you still enjoy the show, fabulous. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, we want to court any demographic. Anyone's welcome to listen to the show. But I think we also know the majority of our audience are people around our age. So that would be so weird if we were just like ignoring them to reach this audience that's like not interested. And that's when it gets inauthentic because then those people who weren't interested probably still aren't. And then the people who were are like, hey, what about us?
Hey,
we're not good enough.
Me.
Hey, look at me.
Speaking of your audience, let's talk about how you guys, like, the question is like, how do you cultivate an audience like that? But like, is it even you guys cultivating it? I really don't know the answer.
It happens so crazy. Like everyone, I think a buzzword, like when you go to events, like business things are like community. And nobody even knows what that word means anymore.
Right.
And I think people now start podcasts with the goal of creating a community. And the best communities, like they can't just materialize out of thin air. They really happen naturally over time. And I think our show, especially when we started, we were like young, impressionable girls. The girls listening to us were young and impressionable, and they were just looking for like similar people in similar life phases. And through Instagram and, you know, Facebook groups back in the day, it ended up becoming a community, but we didn't like set out to be like, we want all of our listeners to have a name and wear our merch and call themselves toasters. Right. And you can tell when people do that.
Yeah.
Not to be shady.
So wait, so did the audience name themselves Toasters?
Yes, we actually thought they might go by Toasties, remember?
Yeah.
And then they elected for Toasters.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm like trying to make fetch happen. Shit. I'm like trying to change. Yeah, I am. So my audience was Little Effers forever from Sirius. It literally makes no sense anymore, but it was the Cosmo branding was fun, fearless females. Little Effers, whatever.
Cringe.
It doesn't make sense anymore. That was Cosmo's brand, let's be clear. They were the boss.
It's giving her story.
But I'm like, hey girl, hey is my thing. That's the moniker. So people like on my show were like, oh, I went to a show and I got hey girl, hey. So I'm like, hey girl, hey girls. And I kind of am like leading the horse to water, but I'm like, oh my God, is that cringe?
It's not. I think letting it happen naturally is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, so back to the Toasters. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, me particular, I'll speak for my own experience, but like I've definitely dealt with the silent majority of my audience is incredible. But there's the trolls, and sometimes I let the trolls represent like the whole community, and I know that's my fault, and I've like had my come to Jesus with that. But like, how were you guys able? Because like I feel like in your community, there are no trolls. It just feels like love. I know that's wrong. I'm just telling, that's how it feels because it's so much love.
Well, thank you.
That's simply
That's
not how
it
it
feels for us.
And that's not how it is.
Yeah.
I think it used to really like get to us because when you start this job, it's because you want people to love you. You think you have something to offer.
Yeah.
And the ideal is like everyone is going to love me. And no matter who you are, like I feel like Mother Teresa had her haters. Like everyone, that's human nature. Someone's gonna hate you.
Yes.
And so when you're young, understanding that is really, really hard. And I had a really, really hard time with it. I feel like I'm in a much better place now. And I feel like it's just like, okay, yeah, everyone has haters. What are they saying? I'm at a place now where, like, if you're talking like you're fat, you're ugly, like I don't care. Like, I'm
ugly.
I'm such a timeless beauty. It's so crazy.
Obviously, I mean,
I can't. It's okay to be wrong, you know. But especially, and me and Jackie always say this as a joke, like when you're as authentic as we are, we share a lot. Like you share so much about motherhood. I've shared so much about like my journey with my weight. It's really tough when you share things and then people like take those vulnerable things and throw them back in your face. That's where it really gets me, where I've opened up about something.
Yes.
And you're using it as a knife.
Yes.
I'll kill you. And that is a threat.
So you killed all the trolls. That's why they no longer exist.
You have to talk to my...
No comment, exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel like as we get older, our skin gets thicker, we become more sure of who we are. But still, if I see a comment, like it might upset me, but just for less time than it used to. The way I also think about it is like if I post a picture and I get like so many comments and most of them are positive and there are a few that I want to like clap back. And that's how I feel.
Yes.
Okay, before I do that, I have to respond to every single person who said something nice.
So true and such a good practice because then it's reinforcing the truth. It's the
and
reality.
also reinforcing the people who like you deserve more attention than the people who don't. And by the way, if you did take the time to respond to every person who liked you, you would never get around to responding to the troll because you'd run out of time.
You're right.
Now, some of us aren't as big of women as that.
And no, sometimes like nothing feels better than a clap back. Like
Well,
you gotta
actually,
put them in their place.
I know, it's
What
the
I
best
was
and
going
it's
to
good.
say is like, I have obviously clapbacked both privately and personally with people. And every time I do, like, I seriously regret it. I'm being dead serious. I'm like, you're a slob, and look at me, and I'm talking to you.
No, also sometimes therapeutic is to take a screenshot, send it to Claudia, fucking rip them to shreds.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then
Like,
I'm like,
I'll get on your
I
LinkedIn.
feel so much better.
If the
And I'll
trolls
find a
only
picture
knew.
of your dad, and I'll say he's ugly.
We'll zoom in on that private profile pic. Oh, we'll go to town. And that makes us feel so much better. It really does.
No, seriously, like, I sometimes feel like I could get to a place where, like, I'm gonna call your workplace. Like,
No, literally, I'm with you. I will be
no,
there
but then
by
I
your
become
side.
them, and then I'm a disgusting slob,
And then you
I'm
become
not,
them.
and then I become them. So that's why you have to. It's really contagious. You have to stay away from that energy.
But I will say, and I mean it when I say it just feels like your community is a whole lot of love. Like you really have an admirable community.
They're the best. Like we just came from. We did a meet and greet. We do a for anyone who doesn't know, like a canned wine, and we're at Target now, which is so fabulous.
Yep.
And so we just did our first meet and greet at Target in Austin. And we met so many, like everybody brought their babies. It was such an amazing, I feel like my bar for meeting people is like, you know how you meet someone, you're like, how do you know they're normal? Oh, they listen to the toast. For me, I'm like, oh, you're normal. Okay.
Totally.
You're not gonna kill me? Come stay at my house.
Yeah.
No, it's a great community. But especially the Austin Swirlies have really shown up and shown out.
Big time.
Is there any though thing that you guys feel like maybe you've done or you've seen happen that could be like, I don't know, just a way to, like, do you feel like you've had a hand in creating such a good community? I guess is my question.
Yes,
Like the
and
way you
no.
built the community.
So I feel like a lot of our community also comes from the fact that Claudia and I are sisters, and like it just really feels like a family, and people feel like they know us and they feel like a part of the sisterhood. I also feel like as far as weeding out some of the haters, something that Claudia and I learned in the last few years is like not trying to placate everyone all the time.
Yes.
Not trying to bring that person back into the fold who was offended about this or that. Like, okay, so then we part ways here perhaps. Because I don't want to keep seeing you and you keep like, then it's not for you.
So being true to you and your brand is the way you get this great community.
And at the end of the day, like the point of the show is to be funny.
Yes.
We are not a news show. We have never claimed, this isn't CNN. We are here to bring joy. And when we get to do events like this and, our meet and greet earlier, and we see people who just like love the show, who either, went through a hard time and leaned on the show or had a baby and watched the toast while they were getting a C-section, like knowing that the show brings people joy, that's the point. And so sometimes when you're trying to be funny, it's just the nature of comedy. Like you're not always gonna nail it. And everyone is not gonna think it's funny because everybody's experience is different and they're gonna be like, well, I'm triggered. And that's fine.
Yeah. No, if you can't take a joke,
this is not the show for you.
Don't listen to the comedy podcast.
Exactly.
Right. And I think we used to just feel like, oh no, someone's hurt. Like
we're panicking. What
do we do? Like come back. And kind of letting that go and being like, okay, then maybe we just aren't for each other is really liberating.
And a couple of years ago, I think we got to a place where we had that realization and we knew our numbers were gonna go down.
Okay.
And we were okay with it. We felt like it was a cleansing of people who our show is just not meant for. And this was more so Jackie, but she just really had faith that like the people who the show was for were going to find it.
Right.
And it took some time, but our numbers came back bigger than ever. And I think getting really comfortable with that dip was a huge part of creating the community we now have, which is just a group of like really fun, funny, smart, successful women who just want to giggle about nonsense.
Yes. And I will say, like...
And they say women don't have hobbies.
I will say too, though, like as being a periphery toaster, a friend of the Toasty Queens, like so even when I don't fully understand something, I think I said this before, I'm repeating myself, but that's what I do, repetitive Rita. But like, I really genuinely, like, I don't feel left out. Like, you guys have your own secret language. And it's like inside jokes, but at the end of the day, it doesn't piss me off if I don't know them. I just need to go and figure out what's going on so I can feel even closer to the community. So let's do a little like toaster thesaurus. Come up with something cute. I feel like you guys are good at that.
Steeny lexicon.
Steen lexicon.
Yeah. By we, like Jackie made that up. I don't even know what lexicon means. Like,
okay, well, I know what lexicon means.
What does it mean?
Like something about language.
Like linguistics.
Oh, well, we can't bring up the word linguistics without me telling my favorite story. Does anybody know it? Turdy's favorite story?
The class.
No, about linguistics. Oh, you failed. You obviously haven't been keeping up on your lists.
And you failed.
Exactly. When I was in college, I took this class called linguistics. And I only took it because my sister Olivia was in college at the same time as me, and we both needed credits from the College of Arts and Sciences. So we're like, let's take this dumb, stupid class. So hard, I failed. Literally, I got an F in college, and Olivia was graduating. And if you get an F, you don't get the credits. So I'm like, listen, she got a C, and I was like, serious. My sister Olivia's smart. I was like, dumb. I was like, seriously, I'm so happy for you that you got the C. There was a girl in our class who had a job lined up at JP Morgan, and seriously, she failed, and she didn't even graduate. This class was so dumb. I know. It's just one of my favorite stories to tell. There's no point.
So that's why it's Steeny lexicon and not Steeny linguistics.
Steeny lexicon, yeah.
I'm dead. Okay, so can we do a little lesson? I bet a lot of people will ace the test. I don't know, I might get like a C, but I want to learn. I want to be an A+ student. So I have some things I wrote down that I have some questions on. Okay, first of all, where did Turdy come from? Am I kicked out of the club for even asking this question?
Anyone want to know where Turdy Lou Freebush came from? Murder!
No, it goes further back.
Okay, wait. You're right.
It goes further back to one man.
I'll give you a clue.
To one man. Who can guess?
Little blonde fuck.
You guys would never
Divorced.
guess unless
He's a no name, divorced from big time celeb. Raise your hand.
Say it. Emily Ratajkowski's ex-husband,
Correct.
Sebastian Bear McClard.
McClurd. No,
Oh my God, no.
I think it's. Is it McClurd or McClard? Anyways, we were talking about their divorce, and so we were like, and it was Sebastian Bear McClard, Sebastian Bear McClard, and I'm like, McClardia. And then, like, couldn't stop calling her McClardia, Clurdy, Clurd, Turdy. And then during the Murdaugh trials, we had Turdy Lou Murdaugh come in.
Yeah.
We give her
became
perspective,
obsessed.
the distant cousin of Alec Murdaugh.
And I know what happened, so.
So then she became Turdy Lou. And all of this was also happening while Claudia was on tour. So she was like going out and doing shows.
Right.
And whatever the nickname of the moment was, people would come up to her and be like, McClard or McClurd. And then by then it was like Turdy Lou. And that one just really stuck.
Turdy Lou is what really imprinted it.
And I've always wanted a nickname. Like, you have no idea how much. Like, and people are like, doesn't it bother you? She's calling you a piece of crap. No. I've always wanted a nickname. And like, I could cry talking about how much it means to me to have a nickname, like dead serious. It's so cool. And like, when everyone like sends me merch and it says like Turdy, I'm obsessed.
And now it's Turdy Lou Freebush.
Yeah.
That's your government name?
I've always said that if I ever were to do drag, my name would be Disgracey Lou Freebush, a reference from the iconic film Miss Congeniality. But I just never got around to doing drag, so now it's Turdy Lou Freebush.
And I know, obviously, you're Jax. Is that a nickname from before, or is that like a Toast-specific nickname?
That's not a nickname, it's an abbreviation. And the reason why I don't have a nickname...
Just kill me.
Shit.
Just so everybody knows, I'm elderly, and this is elderly abuse, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a woman of a certain age.
It's elder abuse. It's giving, who knows what I'm about to say. Zayn pushing his mother-in-law Yolanda down the steps of their New Hope home.
The reason I don't have a nickname is because I give the nicknames and no one else.
Jacqueline Follet.
Like, not a nickname.
I call you Jacqueline Follet like every day.
You do.
And you don't like it. You don't think it's a good nickname.
I don't think it's a nickname. I think it's just like that me calling you Claudia Schiffer every day.
I wish you would.
So yeah, Jax. Call me Jax.
Okay, I'm humiliated.
It's literally
the
like
rest of my
Candy
life.
Grams in Mean Girls. Jackie's like, oh, I don't give nicknames. I just get them. No,
That's you.
I don't get nicknames. I just give them. Yeah,
It's
whatever.
true.
Yeah. You know what I was meant. Like.
And a nickname is not something you can plan. It like really,
No, it's true.
It has to morph. And so
The morphing, yes. The
morphing.
Dirty Lou of it all.
this has been going on like since we were like I do with all my sisters. Like it's
a beautiful skill. I really do love it. It's very special. I remember my husband, also speaking of nicknames, just saying, but my husband was very bad at like making up songs.
What'd you say?
It's a contraction.
You're killing me.
She's giving learned. Okay.
She's giving linguist expert.
Oh my God.
That's why you guys failed linguistics.
So, but husband, he wasn't like good at making up songs and nicknames.
I don't think it's a
and stuff.
contraction. Who knows what I'm about
It's a
to say.
conjunction, junction.
What's your function?
I think you're
You
right.
guys are mentally unwell, and I love it. I really do. It's so good. So,
It's been such a long day.
Yeah.
my wife is really good at nicknames, and so we have like a whole plethora.
What does she call you? And
Rita.
then does she call it herself, that name?
We
'Cause her
are
name's Taylor?
Rita. So we're both, for people that don't know, I'm Taylor, my wife's Taylor. We're the Taylors, but we're the Ritas to one another. And that is too long of a story, and I will save it for another day because we have other lexicons to get to. Did I say it right?
Okay, one day we'll do the Rita lexicon.
I'll tell you Rita lexicon at dinner.
Okay.
Okay, I promise.
Cool.
Great.
Okay, so I need to know Bryson Strice.
Bryson
Rip.
Strait.
And not to be triggering, I know, and I really don't want to do anything to trigger you.
No, it's
but,
okay. It's fine. Like my dog died and it's so unfair and it's so disgusting. And like, seriously, I don't even know like how to like be, you know?
But we couldn't do a panel on the toast without mentioning him because he's a major part of toast history.
And I was in the bath the other day and you know when you just feel like self-harming? I watched the episode of The Toast that we recorded the day after Theo died. Like, I don't know why. I spent the whole episode crying, talking about what it's like minute by minute to put your dog down. And I'm sitting in the tub sobbing. And yeah, that's what I did the other day.
So Bryson's Trace, where did that come from? Well, my dog is Bruno.
Yes.
I guess at some point I started calling him Bryce. Oh, I called him Bruce, Bryce. And then we used to sing like Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen, Brassen Strassen. And so Strice was Theo, but then also they were the Stry Guys because that was around when the Try Guys, where are they? Their big
Scandal.
viral moment. The Try Guys podcast, like there was a big scandal and we're like, forget the Try Guys, how about the Stry Guys? And so there we were, off to the races.
God, Jackie, this is making me just fall so madly in love with you. Somebody that can make up songs and nicknames, I mean, it's the sexiest thing on earth.
That means so much to me because I do think my friends and family get sick of it. Like I'm constantly just talking nonsense, but it's part of the process. And that led me to write a children's book. Like that was literally an amalgamation of nonsense.
Oh!
So never give up your LARPing. If you guys have the LARP spirit in you, just let it run free.
Let it rip.
Yes. Okay, wait. Also, you're going to get really mad at me. And I'm just, again, old lady brain. I just Swiss cheese. I can't think of it. But we call Margot, what's Margot's nickname?
Snitch.
And where'd Snitch come from?
Oh, it goes so far back. Pre us being social media people, like just her being our little sister, and it was just a nickname, but not because of any snitchery. And I do need to clear that up. Like, she's not a snitch. She's actually a steel trap.
Bolt.
She won't tell you anything.
Yeah.
And she won't snitch. Like, I would tell her a secret.
Yeah, no.
She doesn't care enough to tell someone else.
Yeah, that's so true. She doesn't even think we're cool. Like,
yeah, we do all of this so that our little sister will think
watch
her
our
big
show.
sisters are cool. Yeah.
That's the whole motivation.
Yeah, we're like, if it reached Margot, we did something right today.
So true. It doesn't happen though.
Okay. I'm gonna butcher this. PGOM and PGOW.
Anybody know what that means? It was just something we started to say. Who did we say it about? You know when someone's just so fucking cute, like a little precious gem of a man? We just kept saying precious gem of a man. So we love acronyms.
We do.
PJOM, and that one stuck. And then of course, PJOW, if it's of the feminine
As a
variety.
lesbian, thank you for that one. I appreciate it.
PJOW, PJOM, that one really took off. It's so funny. We never know, like, and we don't come up with these to be like, let's, make merch. And it's just happened so naturally. And it's really through Jackie's like favorite hobby of making shit up.
Yes.
And it's so funny what catches on. Like we just, like I said, came from this meet and greet. We talked to like hundreds of people. And the thing that we say that I guess everyone is like catching on to is congrats, grads.
That's the word of the moment.
Which is like this dumb thing we started saying like a year ago. And it's like literally not even funny. Like I don't even know why we say it. And we say it with like a weird accent now, congrats, grads. And everyone was saying, it's just so funny what catches on.
Also, we have to address literally.
So I did not originate, I have to say, like it was cultural appropriation from the queer community. Our best friend, Brian, literally. Now he said it on a personal level. I definitely publicized it, so I feel like I can own it, but I didn't necessarily come up with it. But you know when you hang out with your friends, whether it's like a certain group of friends you have, or for us, we used to go to camp and we would come home and we would talk like our camp friends. And some of them, I used to come home from camp, there was a Cuban girl in my bunk and I'd be like, se muera Fidel. Like, I don't even know what that means. I think it's like actually like a political, I think it's like kind of crazy. I think it's like seriously like crazy. Like, yes, Fidel, like, I don't know. I'm not making any statements here. I'm just saying, I used to come home at 16 and say, se muera Fidel.
Well, that was Claudia speaking.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so whenever I hang out with certain people, I start to talk like them. We were just talking about that backstage. And I think a lot of people, when they listen to the toast, they start to talk like the toast. So with literally, I was just coming off a season in my life where I was spending like every weekend with Brian. Literally. And it's my favorite fucking thing to say. It's so fun. And you could be, of course, a casual, literally, or you could really put your pussy in it and be like, literally. Literally.
Okay, we are running out of time, but I have two more. This is selfish of me. I need to know more about like Mary Orton of it all.
My friend Mary Orton, shout out Mary.
I was like, what is happening? My wife was like, ask the girls, they'll explain it to you.
Well, so I made a new friend Claudia doesn't know. She also happens to be an influencer.
Yes.
And I was just talking about her a lot because she's my friend. And
Mary Orton this, Mary Orton, like, shut up, we get it, you made a friend. Like, must be nice.
And only Turtle's allowed to have outside friends, apparently, but not me.
My outside friends are literally Taylor, okay? So.
But my friend Mary Orton is a wonderful woman, and you guys should follow her at Mary Orton.
I actually never met Mary Orton. I just am jealous of her, and that's my hatred. And so she came on the podcast when I was off a couple weeks ago, and I listened to it, and it was devastating. Like, she's hilarious and literally gorgeous.
Yep.
And so stylish, and it's like, great. That's so great. She's amazing.
So Mary.
And she was an amazing guest, and she dropped off a gorgeous fruit basket when she left.
She sent me such a nice gift. I guess thanks. Yeah, send something for everyone in the house. Like, she's really so classy and thoughtful.
Ugh.
Yeah. You can't hate her.
I'm dying.
We're going to try.
I want to meet her.
I think you would like Mary Orton.
Can I meet her?
Yeah.
Can we go out?
Yeah.
You would love.
I'm
oh my God.
so down.
No, now Mary Orton's taking my friend.
Mary Orton's coming for all.
Wow, Mary Orton. Wow.
And last but not least, Queenie and Weenie of the week, obviously a segment. But I just have to say, the way, as a listener of the toast, i.e. Instagram clips, the way I shed a tear for the Queenie of the Week this week.
Which was Charity Lou doing big things, big things. Queenie and Weenie of the Week is actually probably one of my favorite things to describe because it sums up our show perfectly.
I took the words, you go.
And it's a great note to end on because
Agreed.
it started with Weenie of the Week, which is a really cruel game we used to play as children.
Oh my God.
When we would remember.
Context for anyone who doesn't know, sorry, it's killing me. Jackie and I are one of 4 sisters. So like we did everything together with our sisters as kids, like games, and Jackie is the second, I'm number 3. So there was like 2 older and 2 younger. Back when we were kids, like that's how it was separated, like the olders and the youngers. I was in the youngers.
So we used to play a game called Weenie of the Week where we would just like go around in a circle and nominate who was a big weenie this week. And it was so mean.
It's literally like Housewives, like who do you trust the least?
Yeah.
Why we were playing that game at actually 11, like it was so mean. And it was honestly the worst part of my week because a younger always won.
Yeah, Olivia and
older,
I would
never.
team up and we would strategize. That way we couldn't get it if we both voted for the same person.
No, and like we got like made fun of for like the dumbest, like most, and like, oh my God, like you had like a chicken. Okay, yeah, I ate chicken.
Yeah.
Some of the worst times of my childhood, for real.
But we turned a negative into a positive because we were talking about that on the show. We were just, telling stories from childhood. And then we were like, oh my God, that would be a hysterical segment for the toast.
That's a new one.
That'll be our next segment for the show, segments. Okay, so we're like, that would be great for the toast. And then we decided to also put a positive spin on it, not to just be like negative, making fun of people.
I wanted to just do weenie, just for the record.
But it's a Friday. We want to end on a positive. So we also added Queenie of the Week. So now we go through the week and we choose someone to be the weenie who exhibited weenie-like behavior and someone who's a queenie. It's not meant to be like super serious.
Yes.
No, I think honestly, like we're keeping Hollywood in check because
Yeah,
people,
you don't want to
honestly,
end up on the list.
Since we started the segment, people have been like acting different.
It's been
like,
hard to find weenies.
Yeah. Now, we love her, but if you want to know who the weenie of this week was, it was Normani. And she just did this interview that really, it gave weenie energy. So, but the thing about, what we love about Queenie and Weenie of the Week is like, once you're a weenie, like you're not always a weenie. You could actually, the following week, depending on your actions, be Queenie.
Yeah. Queenie for a day.
Get you a girl who could do both.
So that's that.
I love it. I'm obsessed with you guys. I mean, obviously, I'm friends with you, but like, I just love you more and more every single day.
We literally would take a bullet for you. Everyone, give it up for Taylor Strecker. Like, she's everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Make sure to listen to her show. It's really good.
I mean, just shameless plug. It's called Taste of Taylor. It comes out every single Thursday, so like check it out. But also make sure to check out The Toast, just The Toast, every single, day of the work week, Monday through Friday. You guys, I love you to bits and
Love
pieces.
you. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, woo!
Woo, woo. Yep. Now let's get dinner, and I need to get drunk. Thank you.
Yeah.
So hungry.